Good morning, girls, and welcome to today's English language class on clauses. Clauses is a topic which I'm sure you are familiar with. It is a very simple topic, so I hope you enjoy today's class. I begin by telling you what is a clause. You might be wondering what is a clause, even if you have heard the word clause before. A clause is a group of words that form a part of a sentence and possess a subject, verb, and predicate of their own. So, if we were to take a full sentence, a small group of words within that sentence would be a clause. It has, that means it contains a subject, a verb, and predicate. So in order to make up a clause, it must have a subject, verb, and predicate. Please keep that in mind. And as I have told you, it is a group of words that makes up a part of a sentence. So now that you know what a clause is a group of words that make up a part of a sentence. It contains within it a subject, a verb, and a predicate. You all know what a verb is, but in case you are wondering or you have forgotten what a subject and a predicate is, let us revise. A subject is the person or thing that is doing an action, or the person or thing that is the focus of the sentence. So if the sentence is Mary is eating cake, so the focus of that sentence is Mary and what Mary is doing. So Mary is the subject of the sentence. What is the predicate? A predicate of the sentence is the part that contains the action. So the part of the sentence that contains the action of what is going on is known as the predicate. So remember, a subject is the focus of the sentence, whether it is a person or a thing. And the predicate of a sentence is the part that contains the action in a sentence. Now we will go on to look at examples for subject and predicate in a sentence. So do pay close attention. This in turn will help you understand better what a clause is. So now that you are aware what part of the sentence is the subject and what part of a sentence is the predicate, let us take up three very simple examples which will help you understand things very clearly. As I have already told you in your previous slide, a subject of the sentence is the focus of that sentence, whether it is a person or whether it is the thing that makes up the focus of that sentence. Whereas the predicate of the sentence is that part of the sentence that contains the action. So remember, the subject is the focus and the predicate means the action of that sentence. Now we take up three very simple examples or three very simple sentences that will help you understand what a subject is and what a predicate is very simply. So we take up the first sentence. I love strawberries. That is a very simple sentence, and the subject of that sentence or the person who is in focus in the sentence is I. So I here is the subject. The predicate of the sentence is love strawberries, because in this part of the sentence we understand what the action of the sentence is. So love strawberries. In our second sentence, Henry laughed his head off. So who is the focus in the sentence? The focus is on Henry. And what did he do? What is the action? He laughed his head off. In our third sentence, the tornado has crossed the state border. Now, I hope you know what a tornado is. A tornado is like a cyclone. So, the tornado has crossed the state border. So, what is the focus of the sentence? The focus is on the tornado. And what is the action? Has crossed the state border. So these three very simple examples help you understand what is the subject, what is the focus in the sentence, and what is the predicate in a sentence. You might be wondering why I have repeated the first slide again. Well, in the first slide, you might have been a little confused, or you might have forgotten what a subject or a predicate is. But now that you have understood that the subject of a sentence is the focus of a sentence and the predicate of a sentence is that part of the sentence that contains the action, I'm sure now you will have no confusion or no trouble in understanding what a clause is. Notice in the image or the picture that I have given on the side, the girl now understands perfectly the definition of a clause. And I'm sure you, being very smart girls too, will understand what a clause is perfectly. So what is a clause? A clause is a group of words that form a part of a sentence. So it is a part of a sentence and possesses a subject, verb, and predicate of its own. So now you know that a clause is made up of a subject, verb, and predicate. So you know what a subject is? You know that a verb is an action word, and you know that a predicate is the part of the sentence that contains the action. So now that you have understood what a clause is, we go on to discuss some simple examples to help drive the point home. Remember that it is a part of a sentence that possesses a subject, say it with me, a subject, a verb, and a predicate. Now we take up some simple examples to help you understand with great clarity. The underlined parts are the clauses. Alright, so in the first example, the sun rises in the east. So in this sentence, can you tell me what the focus is in the sentence? Yes, the focus of the sentence is the sun. What is the verb in the sentence and the predicate? That it rises in the east. Alright, so the action is rising and the predicate is rising in the east. Let us take up the final example on the slide. The child is playing. So who is the focus in the sentence? The focus is on the child. And what is the verb and predicate of the sentence? Is playing. So that is the action. That is the action being focused on in the sentence. We can look at the third example. I cannot believe that she is leaving. So who is the focus of the sentence? I am the focus of the sentence. And what is the verb and predicate? Cannot believe she is leaving. So now have you understood that a clause, very simply put, is a part of a sentence. It is a group of words that possesses a subject, verb, and predicate. It's very, very simple and nothing to worry about at all. Just look for the focus of the sentence, What is the verb and predicate of the sentence? It is nothing to find difficult at all. It is one of the easiest topics for you in grammar. Now that you have understood what a clause is, we go on to discuss the difference between a clause and a phrase. The difference is very easy, so you will not have any trouble in understanding this portion at all. Just pay very close attention to the definition and the examples, and you will have no trouble at all. So, as you already know, a clause is a group of words that forms a part of a sentence and possesses the subject and verb of their own is called a clause. So, it's that part of the sentence that has a subject and a verb together. That subject plus verb makes up a clause. Now, the predicate, as you already know, is that part of a sentence that contains the action. And what is a verb if not an action word? So, a clause is subject plus verb. So, what is a phrase then? A phrase is a group of words that helps in forming a sentence. So, just like a clause, a phrase too is a group of words, but it does not make complete sense on its own. A phrase does not have a subject or a predicate. Means that a phrase doesn't have both a subject plus verb or predicate. Unlike a clause which has a subject plus verb and predicate, a phrase does not have a subject plus verb or predicate. Do you understand the difference? So now let us look through the examples. So to help you understand things better, I have put it very simply in a tabular form, where on one side I have put the chief characteristics of a phrase, and on the other side I have put the main characteristics of a clause. So firstly, a phrase is a group of words. There is no subject verb combination, and it has no meaning if used alone. As opposed to that, we have a clause, which is a group of words. It has a subject verb combination and has a complete meaning by itself. So now let us see how it is different or same to each other. So both a phrase and a clause are groups of words. So in that way, they are both the same. They are both groups of words. A phrase does not have a subject plus verb combination. A clause, however, on the other hand, has a subject plus verb combination. Thirdly, a phrase has no meaning if it is used all alone, but a clause has a complete meaning by itself. For you to understand an example of a phrase, an example is the sports car. This is just a phrase which has no subject verb combination. So, what is the focus in the phrase? The focus is the sports car. Now, is there any verb in this sentence? An action word? No, not at all. So, this is just a group of words that has a subject but no verb. And it has no meaning on its own. Is it telling us anything about the sports car? No. That is why a phrase is a group of words, but it does not have a subject verb combination and it has no meaning if it is used alone. Unlike that, a clause is also a group of words, but it has a subject plus verb combination and it has complete meaning when it is used on its own.
Introduction to clauses. It's easy to understand the difference between a clause and a phrase if you understand one simple concept: clauses versus phrases. A phrase contains a subject or a verb, but not both. A clause contains a subject and a verb. So the simple thing for you to do is look at the structure and ask yourself, do I see a subject or a verb, but not both? If I do, then it's a phrase. If I see a subject and a verb, it is a clause, because a clause contains a subject and a verb. A clause contains a subject and a verb. And there are two types of clauses: independent clauses that can stand alone, and dependent clauses, which you will find within a larger sentence structure. A phrase contains a subject or a verb, but not both, and a clause contains a subject and a verb. Go to www.englishgrammarhelp.com to learn more about phrases or clauses.